Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Today in the rLounge, instead of losing a glass slipper at midnight, OP lost her teenage years raising kids that weren't hers while two grown adults treated her like the third parent they accidentally outsourced for free. Bippity boppity boo. Am I the a-hole for crashing out on my mom when she tried to manipulate me into basically quitting my job to babysit my brothers full time? Sorry, the context is a bit long and rushed, but I swear it's important. I, now 28 female, spent around 8 years living with my 41 female mom, her 32 male boyfriend, let's call him James, and my 3 younger brothers. The youngest 2 are theirs together. Me and the oldest brother are from mom's previous marriage. We all moved in together when I was around 14 or 15, and their relationship was toxic from the very beginning. I'm talking nonstop yelling arguments over almost anything and everything. My mom financially supported all of us the entire time since James had trouble keeping a job. His insecurities, anxiety, and need for attention often overshadowed us kids and our needs, which led us to often getting ignored and me babysitting my brothers constantly while she took him out wherever he wanted to go to calm down. In high school, I made plans to go to the Arts Institute of San Francisco with a friend of mine after graduation. As soon as I told my mom the plans, she got emotional and talked about how she thought I was going to stay to help her with the boys because James still isn't working and she is stressed and struggling by herself. She made me feel selfish for not wanting to step up as the oldest daughter and help her when she was desperately needing me. So after some time of her manipulating me to stay, I canceled the college plans. My friend obviously didn't take it well, and we eventually grew apart as the school years passed. After I graduated high school, we made an agreement that my mom and James would pay me to babysit while they worked, but it didn't exactly work out that way. James constantly struggled to find and keep a job. 2 years of no progress passed. It got to the point that I was so irritated with the both of them and the whole crap show we were living in that I had a full-on mental breakdown about how my friends were out living their lives and I put mine on hold to basically be a live-in babysitter while they went out together or took the kids on trips without me. I wasn't even getting paid like we agreed. They had their own talk and eventually told me that they would let me sign up for community college or get a part-time job that works with the boys' schedule, as I was still expected to take full care of them like I had been doing even before the agreement. I chose college so I could eventually get a degree and find a better job in the future. This went well for a while until James got upset that I was taking more time to myself to study with friends after classes and visit my then boyfriend on weekends. They said the deal was for me to still help with the boys, but I told them straight up, why should I when James still couldn't find a job and was home all day anyway? I held my tongue for years, and this is one of the first times I actually spoke my mind to them. Obviously, this didn't go well, and we all argued about it for weeks every single time we crossed paths at home. I started to stay at school longer and even stayed the night with my boyfriend more often just to avoid them. Sometimes during those stressful weeks, me and my boyfriend broke up. It was a toxic relationship anyways, and I'm glad we did now, but back then I was deeply heartbroken. My mom was somewhat sympathetic, but most of the time left me alone. I started going out with my friends more and coming home later. I wasn't out drinking. Me and my friends aren't the drinking our sorrows away type. We would just go on late night food runs and hang out watching movies at their houses. I still cry myself to sleep almost every night about the breakup and about everything going on at home. I felt stuck in a toxic loop, and it was making me physically and mentally sick. In the summer of 2020, COVID was getting more serious to the point all my classes were moved to at-home Zoom chats, and since everyone was getting COVID, my friends couldn't go out as much, which meant I had to stay home more often. Guess who had a problem with that? Yep, James indeed had a problem with that. He constantly complained every day about all the things I wasn't doing to help them around the house and how lazy I was for not waking up when they wanted me to wake up and do chores. I felt unappreciated because I was doing chores they asked me to do, and I was even using my financial aid money to help out with the groceries, car issues, fast food for dinner, the boys' school things, and lots more. Just because I wasn't on my feet doing something every second of the day doesn't mean I don't do anything at all. I was furious every time they argued with me about it. Then one day, I finally snapped. I couldn't sleep the night before. I was still crying myself to sleep, so I slept in a little later than usual. James yelled at me about anything he could think of all day until my mom came home. When she did, she came in the room to talk to me about how I needed to do more if I wanted to keep living with them. I scoffed at her and said, "You think I wanted to live with you guys? I had plans to leave a long time ago, but I stayed to help you." She stood there with her arms crossed and said, "What are you even doing to help out?" James came into the room and said something I knew he would regret later. He said, "If you don't want to be here, then why don't you just leave?" Something in my head clicked and I told him, "Fine, I'll leave." They were shocked and thought I was bluffing, but I packed a bag, called my dad, and he came to pick me up. I stayed with my dad. His living situation wasn't the best. He had recently lost his job and was behind on bills, but honestly, anywhere is better than there. My mom cut contact with me after she realized I wasn't coming back home. She also cut off my phone, so I had no Wi-Fi hotspot for my Zoom classes. I had to use the neighbor's Wi-Fi to finish the semester. Time passed. I had no more money, and I sadly had to drop out of school to get a job in order to support myself and my dad too. Yeah, it's safe to say that a lot of men in my life weren't the most reliable or financially independent. But this big change and isolation actually helped me become more independent. I did so well at my job that I got promoted twice and eventually became a supervisor of a small neighborhood grocery store. Even though I was still struggling with the bills, I was doing okay on my own. I still cried myself to sleep sometimes, but now because I miss my brothers. I was told that I was like a second mom to them, and I did feel like a mom, but I basically raised them all since I was 14. So leaving them in that toxic situation hurt deeply, and not being able to talk to them felt like torture. I was only able to see one brother every other weekend since we shared a dad. He would update me on things at the house whenever I asked, but he would also say the only thing that changed is that they yelled louder and fought more often. They gave my responsibilities to him after I left, and that pissed me off, but there wasn't anything I could do besides apologize to him. He said he understood why I did it, and we cried together. Now, here's what you've all been waiting for. It had been a year and a half since I left my mom's toxic place, moved with my dad, dropped out of college, got a job, and became a bit more financially independent. My mom had dropped off my brothers for the weekend, and I just so happened to be home when she did. My brother told me that my mom wanted to talk to me. I was shocked and very nervous, but I said okay, then walked over to her car. Lots of thoughts were running through my mind every step of that walk. I was already holding back tears and trying not to have a panic attack like I would almost every day living with them. We greeted each other and caught up a little bit as if we hadn't been avoiding each other all the time. She asked lots of questions about how things were going and what I'm up to. At first, I thought she was actually interested in the little life I made for myself during this time, so I started to feel calm and happy to just be talking to her. But that didn't last long. All was well and happy until she asked if I could do her a small favor. I paused and told her that it depends on what it is. She told me how James got a new job, but their work hours overlap, so they would need someone to watch the boys for a couple hours at night until she got home from her job. She said she would pay me and even give me rides there and back or send an Uber. I told her I don't think I can do that because I just got promoted and I work night shifts. I get home around 10:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. sometimes, and I work a full 8 hours, 5 days a week. I stood there while she sat in her car trying to think of ways we can work it out. None of these things she was coming up with made any sense. I told her if I went along with her plans, then I would only be able to work 4-hour shifts, and since I just got promoted a week ago, I don't think that they would let me do that. She said I should at least ask them and explain that it's a family situation. I was so overwhelmed and conflicted that I told her I would ask, but I don't think they would let me do that. I also specifically told her to keep looking for someone else because I honestly don't think I can do it, and it's most likely a no. She agreed and said thanks. I gave her my new number, and then she drove off. That night, I stayed up thinking about how absolutely ridiculous it all sounded and how I couldn't believe that she would even ask me to do this after all this time. If you thought that was it, you'd be wrong because after the weekend passed, all hell broke loose. I wasn't there when she picked up my brother, but she did call me when I got home from work. It was around 11 p.m. and I sat on the back porch relaxing from the exhausting day. Anyone that has worked customer service in a bad neighborhood knows how intense things can get with Karens and shoplifters. Anyways, she called. I answered, and things were calm at first until she asked if I talked to my boss. Honestly, I'd already made up my mind that same night before, but lied, and I told her that my boss said no, as it's impossible to work that schedule in my position. Even though it actually is. Things got quiet on her end for a bit, and I heard her and James whispering, arguing in the background. She then started telling me that she and James already worked their plans around me watching the kids and staying the night there most of the week since I already told her I would do it. I was livid hearing her say that, and suddenly all the rage I was holding back for years filled my body. I yelled, "Huh? No, I didn't. I specifically told you it's most likely a no and to keep looking for someone else." She went on and on about respect for all that she's done for me over the years and that I owe her this and blah, blah, blah. This woman was fully expecting me to give in and even told me that she had already told my younger brothers that I would come back home and they were excited to see me, that they cried. Using my brothers as a way to try and manipulate me was the last straw. I snapped and let it all out. I basically said to her, "You honestly expect me to agree to this ridiculous deal? Basically, quit or jeopardize my job after I just got a promotion. You guys put me through years of emotional and mental hell to the point I was getting stress pains up my arms over things that weren't my responsibility. My brothers called me mom before they said it to you. I helped you guys so much. I sacrificed years of my life to help you and your deadbeat boyfriend who can't hold a job for crap. All for what? For you to tell me I did nothing but cause you problems? No, you don't get to tell me what I'm doing or going to do. You guys don't care about my life at all, do you? You can't manipulate me into doing things that you guys should be doing yourselves. It's not my responsibility to help raise kids that you couldn't afford to have. This is a you problem, not me. I have my own problems to deal with. If it wasn't clear enough, my answer is no. Hell no. Only call me if it's an emergency with my brothers. Other than that, you can do what you've been telling me to do all my life when I asked you for help. Figure it out. I hung up and stayed outside looking at the night sky for a while before I went back inside. She didn't call me back, but she went around to our family members and told them so many different versions of the story. So I did get calls from people telling me that I shouldn't treat my mom that way and she is struggling, so I should help her out because she's family. One of my aunts cursed me out over the phone saying that I need to help my mom right now. Her son, my cousin, told me that the things I said to her made me sound like an a-hole. I tried to explain my side to them, but after a while I realized that none of these people ever helped me out in the past, even when I told them how bad things have gotten at home. My dad was borderline homeless, and he was the only one that helped me, even if I ended up having to support him too. I don't care if yelling at her that way makes me the a-hole. I was done being a doormat and letting her and James walk all over me. Years have passed and I have a better job now. I moved into the healthiest relationship I've ever had. I got a little car. We still barely talk, but all I care about is that I can now pick up my brothers and take them out to eat or see movies. I'm still dealing with the trauma of those years spent with them, but I'm doing better every day. Watching Charlotte's videos in these recent years opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't know were red flags in the past. I feel like I made the right moves in the end, and I have no regrets. Like I said, I don't care if I'm the a-hole. I don't think I am, and that's enough for me. I can't tell you how good it feels to finally talk about this, telling my side of the story. Thank you to anyone who read this all the way through. I honestly feel like I can finally breathe again. Let's get a couple quick comments from the community before we close this out. First up, you're not the a-hole. That energy you had for your mother, give it all to the other relatives who try to call to guilt trip you. Once they get chewed out, they'll leave you alone too. Embrace your righteous rage in balance and enjoy entering an era where you center your needs and give hell to anyone who tries to stop you. Someone else adds this, not the a-hole. Too much was pushed on you and guilt was weaponized against you. You were parentified. Be there for your brothers when you can, but you don't owe it to your mom and what's his name to work yourself to the bone to support them. As for your brothers, don't feel guilty about the older brother having to do your old duties. It is normal for the younger ones to step up when the older siblings leave the home. And soon the younger one can assist if he isn't old enough yet. Live your life, take care of yourself, save what you can for emergencies, and try to have some you time every day to lower your stress and feel happier. You're not the a-hole here. You were still a teenager when you got pressured into giving up college plans so you could basically become a third parent while two grown adults struggled to manage responsibilities they chose to take on. Every time you tried to build independence, school, friends, relationships, work, they treated it like you were betraying them instead of just living your own life. Meanwhile, James acting like you were lazy while he couldn't consistently hold a job is honestly wild. The biggest sign you made the right decision is what happened after you left. You got promotions, became independent, built a healthier relationship, got your own car, and started healing. Toxic environments have a way of convincing people they're selfish for wanting basic peace. And for what it's worth, your brothers are going to remember who was actually there for them growing up. You clearly love them deeply, but loving them doesn't mean sacrificing your entire future forever. Be honest. How long would you have lasted in that house before snapping and telling James to discover this exciting new concept called a stable job? Thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.